Today, the topic for discussion is breathing and exchange of gases. This chapter is dealt under two headings. Part 1 consists of mechanism of breathing, respiratory volumes, and capacities. The second part includes the transport of respiratory gases. Today, let us take up mechanism of breathing, respiratory volumes, and capacities. What is respiration? Respiration is the process in which oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is expelled. The oxygen thus taken to the body is used in the release of energy stored in glucose. And as a result, carbon dioxide is formed as a waste product and that is expelled through the respiratory system or through the body surface. In animals, we come across various types of respiratory systems for the exchange of respiratory gases. Both carbon dioxide and oxygen are considered as respiratory gases. In simple organisms like protozoans, poriferans, cnidarians, platyhelminthes, etc., no separate respiratory system is present. The diffusion of respiratory gases takes place through their body surface. Coming to annelids, in animals like earthworm, the body surface is kept always moist, and through this moist body surface, exchange of respiratory gases takes place. Coming to arthropoda, in arthropods, there is a chitinous exoskeleton, so their body surface cannot help in the exchange of respiratory gases. So for the first time in arthropods, we come across a separate respiratory system. It is made of various types. In the insects, we find tracheal respiratory system. In some animals like crabs, prawns, we find gills. In book lungs, in some animals. In some lung books like that, we come across various types of respiratory organs in arthropods. In the mollusks, we have got gills. In some molluscans, there are air-breathing nematophores. Then, coming to vertebrates. In fishes, gills are present. In amphibians, we come across moist skin, buccal cavity, lungs, etc. help in respiration. Coming to land vertebrates, that is reptiles, birds, and mammals. They have a separate respiratory system made of lungs and other structures, associated structures. So coming to human beings, lungs are our respiratory organs. In the lungs, the respiratory gases are exchanged. Oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is released. How the mechanism of breathing takes place in human beings? For this, we have to understand the mechanism of breathing. The mechanism of breathing involves two steps. First step is inspiration, that is taking in the atmospheric air into the lungs. Expiration, expulsion of the air present in the lungs. Inspiration is an active process and expiration is a passive process. During inspiration, we have to spend some energy, and during expiration, energy expenditure is almost absent. Then, there are two types of muscles that help in inspiration and expiration. They are muscles of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. Costa means rib. Intercosta means the muscles present in between the ribs. So intercostal muscles and diaphragm. Diaphragm is a dome-like partition that separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. In the thoracic cavity lies the lung and the heart. The lungs are covered by two pleural membranes, and the outer pleural membrane is attached to the inner side of the thoracic wall. As a result, whenever the thoracic cavity expands, the lungs also expand. And whenever the thoracic cavity contracts, the lungs also contract. The inner pleural membrane is attached to the outer surface of the lung wall. Now, let us see how inspiration takes place. This is the initial dome shape of the diaphragm. This one, let us see, this is the dome shape of diaphragm. When the muscles of the diaphragm contract, the diaphragm is flattened like this. When the diaphragm is flattened, what happens? The thoracic cavity increases in the antero-posterior direction. In the antero-posterior direction like this. It increases. At the same time, the intercostal muscles contract. When the intercostal muscles contract, what happens? The ribs and the sternum, these are the ribs, the sternum, they raise upwards. As they raise upwards or outwards, what happens? The thoracic cavity increases in this direction. That is, it increases in dorsoventral direction. So, because of the contraction of the muscles of the diaphragm, the thoracic cavity increases in the anteroposterior direction. Due to the contraction of the intercostal muscles, the rib cage rises upwards and the thoracic cavity increases in dorsoventral direction. Because the thoracic cavity increases, the air pressure inside the lungs comes down, or it becomes lesser than that of the atmospheric air pressure. As a result, air pressure outside rushes into the lungs. In this way, lungs are filled with atmospheric air. And in the lungs, exchange of gases takes place. Oxygen goes into the blood, carbon dioxide is released into the lung cavity from the blood. Then, expiration takes place. During expiration, what happens? The muscles of the diaphragm relax. As a result, the diaphragm again acquires dome shape. As a result, the thoracic cavity decreases in the antero-posterior direction. At the same time, the intercostal muscles also relax. As a result, the rib cage comes back to its original position and the thoracic cavity is reduced in dorsoventral direction. Because of these two processes, the thoracic cavity is reduced and it builds up pressure inside the lungs. As the pressure inside the lungs is more than that of the atmospheric pressure outside, air present in the lungs is expelled. In this way, air will be coming into the lungs and going out. The rate of respiration in human beings under normal conditions is 12 to 16 times per minute. So, we breathe in and out air 12 to 16 times per minute under normal circumstances. Whenever we are doing some work or climbing steps or climbing mountains, the rate of respiration goes up. Then, there is one instrument known as spirometer. Spirometer is a clinical apparatus used to measure the volumes of air and lung capacities during breathing movements. This is used to diagnose any lung health issues or lung problems. That is about mechanism of breathing. Now, we have to learn about respiratory volumes and the capacities of lung. First, we have to study the respiratory volumes. First one is tidal volume. Tidal volume means is also known as TV. The volume of air inspired or expired during normal breathing is known as the tidal volume. When we are at rest, we will be breathing air in and out. When we are at rest, the amount of air that is breathed in or expelled constitutes the tidal volume. It is about 500 ml per breath, 500 ml. If you calculate the tidal volume for 1 minute, we know that we breathe 12 to 16 times per minute, and if we multiply 500 ml with 12 to 16, we get this value. So per minute, we inspire or expire 6,000 to 8,000 ml of air. Then, inspirational reserve volume. This is the additional volume of air a person can breathe in by forced inspiration. So, tidal volume means normal respiration. Sometimes, when we are doing work, we need more oxygen or more air. Then, we will be breathing additional volume of air into the lungs by force. This forced inspiration or additional volume of forced inspiration is known as inspirational reserve volume. That is 2,500 to 3,000 ml. That means over and above the 500 ml of tidal volume, we take in 2,500 to 3,000 ml of air into the lungs through forced inspiration. Then, expirational reserve volume. Normally, we expire during tidal volume 500 ml of air. But sometimes, we forcefully expel air from the lungs. When we forcefully expel the air from lungs, it is known as expirational reserve volume. The expirational reserve volume is 1,000 to 1,100 ml. That means, during forced expiration, in addition to the 500 ml of air, we expel 1,000 to 1,100 ml of air to the outside. Then residual volume. We can never empty our lungs. Even after forced expiration, still some air remains in the lungs. That is the dead storage. That can never be expelled. It always remains inside the lungs. That residual volume is 1,100 to 1,200 milliliters. So thus, there are 4 volumes: tidal volume, inspirational reserve volume, expirational reserve volume, and residual volume. By using these volumes, we calculate capacities of lung. Inspirational capacity means the total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration. So how much air can we breathe in after normal expiration? Normal expiration means 500 ml air we expel. After expelling 500 ml of air, how much air we can breathe in? It is PV and IRV. That means the 500 ml of air we have expelled will be taken back again, plus inspirational reserve volume. That means inspirational capacity means 500 ml of tidal volume plus 2,500 to 3,000 ml of inspirational reserve volume. That means it comes to around 3,000 to 3,500 ml. Then, expirational capacity, EC. The total volume of air a person can expire after normal inspiration. So here, how much air we can expel forcefully? So how much air, the total volume of air a person can expire after normal inspiration? During normal inspiration, how much air we take in? 500 ml. So during forceful expiration, we expel not only these 500 ml of air, but also 1,000 to 1,100 ml of air. That means altogether 1,500 to 1,600 ml of air is expelled. That is expirational capacity. That is TB plus ERB. Functional respiratory capacity. The volume of air that remains in the lungs after normal expiration. So during normal expiration, we take in 500 ml of air and expel 500 ml of air. So how much air remains in the lungs after normal expiration? That means If we expel 500 ml through normal expiration, the air remaining in the lungs is equal to RV plus ERV. RV means reserve volume, which is 1100 to 1200 ml, and ERV is 1000 to 1100 ml. That means 2100 to 2300 ml. That is about functional respiratory capacity. Vital capacity. The maximum volume of air a person can breathe after forced expiration. So it is about the air one can breathe in after forced expiration. Forced expiration means these two, tidal volume and inspirational reserve volume. That we expel. Then how much air we can breathe in? We can breathe in tidal volume, inspirational reserve volume, and also expirational reserve volume. So vital capacity is the maximum volume of air a person can breathe after forced expiration. That means TV plus IRV plus ERV. Then total lung capacity. The total lung capacity means it includes all the four values: tidal volume, inspirational reserve volume, expirational reserve volume, and residual volume. It can be written like this also: VC plus RV. That RV means residual volume. So in this way, we calculate the respiratory volumes and capacities in human beings. Tomorrow, we'll take up the transport of respiratory gases. Thank you.